The STARS tab has 5 subtabs: Status, Assessments, ECP Cubs Employees, STARS Checklist, and Resources. Let's start at the Status subtab. For the most part, the information on the Status subtab is not editable. The subtab contains information about the program in relation to STARS that each program will want to review for accuracy and informational purposes. It also allows programs to access the training grid, apply for the STARS program and/or submit for a STAR rating, view submission history, review STAR notes that may be left by STARS administration, programs, and/or coaches, and request help if there is any confusion regarding STARS. The status page will look different from program to program based on what status the program is currently in. There will, however, always be 3 sections on this subtab: STARS Status, STARS Submission History, and STARS Notes. If you look at the 2 examples shown, you can see that one program is in an applied status and could submit for a STAR rating, and one program is in an active status and can apply for STARS. More to come on this. Let's break the STARS status page down a little further. The first section on this subtab is STARS Status. Under STARS Status, you will see a case ID, which is a number that is assigned by the system. You will not need to do anything further with this number. A case name, which is the program's name. Status. This is the program's STARS status, which is different from the licensing status that was reviewed during the Status tab video. I will highlight some of the commonly used statuses that a program may encounter. Not applied, which means that the program has not yet applied to participate in the STARS program. Pending. The STARS application has been submitted, but not yet approved. Applied. The program is currently participating in STARS and can apply for a STAR level. Submitted, resubmitted. An application for a STAR level has been submitted and is waiting for a monitor to review it. Under review. An application for a STAR level has been submitted and is being reviewed by the monitor. Incomplete. The STAR level application is incomplete. Ready for rating. The STAR level application is complete and ready for review. Active. The program is participating in the STARS program. Waiting list. The program has applied to participate in STARS and has been placed on a waiting list. The program will be notified when they are eligible to apply. Denied. An application has been submitted and denied. No rating. The program did not earn a rating. You can see from this chart that there are more statuses. Again, the ones reviewed will be the most commonly used statuses. The application date. This will be the date that the program either applied to participate in the STARS program or applied for a STAR rating, the most recent. The requested pathway will not be used and will not contain any information that you will need. Please disregard. Assigned pathway will always read STARS. You may or may not see the application period depending on your status. If you do see this, then that means you are submitting for a STAR rating. Enrollment for a STAR rating happens in the 6 months preceding the application period. For example, if your program wants to apply for a STAR rating between July and December, you will need to enroll between January and June. The STARS checklist is due 1 month prior to the end of the application period. Let's take that same example where your program wants to submit for a STAR rating between July and December. The checklist would be due December 1st. Also, it is important to remember that if your program is applying for a STAR rating of 3 or greater, an assessment will need to be done. The assessment will need to be requested by April 1st or October 1st, depending on your application period. Submission deadline. Another one where you may or may not see it based on your status. The submission deadline will appear when the program is applying for a STAR rating, since applying for a STARS program can occur at any time. The deadline is in the system. You are seeing an example of a submission deadline chart. This is the same information that you heard during the application period. Notice that the deadlines are different if you are requesting an assessment. The same process has to be followed when applying for all star ratings, but assessments are required when applying for a star rating of 3 or higher. Keep in mind the deadline difference when an assessment is involved. Let's do one more example with a little more detail. You want to submit for a star 2 rating on March 1st, 2016. You would have needed to enroll your program between July 1st, 2015 and December 31st, 2015. And your STARS checklist would be due June 1st, 2016, since the application period would end June 30th, 2016. Lastly, you may or may not see a target rating depending on your status. Again, you will see this if you are applying for a star rating. This will be the star rating that the program is applying for. The program will be able to choose this, although it does not necessarily mean it will be the rating that will be received. STARS Coach. The monitor will assign the program a coach to assist with the process once the program is accepted into STARS. Staying within the STARS status section of this subtab, you will have the option to either apply for the STARS program or submit for a star rating. You will be given one of these two options based on the program STARS status. The STARS status is updated by the monitor and was previously reviewed in this video. If your program has the option to apply for STARS, this either means that your program is applying for the STARS program or that your program is already in the STARS program and is ready for the first step of submitting for a star level or rating. If your program has the option to submit for a rating, the prior two functions mentioned under applying for STARS have been completed and you can now submit for a rating by completing the STARS checklist. The second section is the STARS submission history. This will give you a history of your program submissions to the STARS program. You will see case ID, status submitting organization, requested level, rating earned and submission. This information will be populated as your program progresses through the STARS process. Here is an example of a submission history. If you click on the magnifying glass, you will see the STARS checklist that was submitted during that submission. The last section on the STARS status subtab is the STARS notes. STARS notes can be entered by administration, programs, and/or coaches. In this example, you can see that the note indicates that a person completed child abuse and neglect mandatory reporting in childcare on 1/28/13. It will also indicate the date that the note was created and who created it. One of the links available on this subtab is the View STARS Training Grid link. When you click on the link, a PDF image will be displayed that contains employees' names, trainings, and the date that the trainings were completed. Some quick notes on the training grid. It is suggested that you view it side by side with the ECP Cubs employee list to assure accuracy and to eliminate discrepancies. If the training does not show up on the professional development record, it will not appear on the training grid. Trainings must be completed before the application deadline or the assessment deadline for programs to apply for a star 3 and higher. If the required trainings are not completed at the time of the submission, the application will be denied and the program will be unable to reapply until the following application period. The last item to cover on this subtab is the Help icon. Don't forget that you can click Help to ask any questions regarding STARS that you would like. Once the Help icon is selected, a window will display, giving you the ability to email a question. The next subtab is the Assessment subtab. As you have heard, an assessment is only required if the program is applying for a star 3 or higher. Once the summary reports are available, the STARS monitor will notify the director and coach via email that the report is accessible on the site. An email will also be sent indicating whether or not the required scores were met for the assessment and the program's baseline scores. the program may request their coach go through the assessment report with them. ECSB is also available to discuss the report if further clarification is needed. The STARS ECP Cubs Employees subtab provides a list of employees that are attached to the program. On one side of the page, you will see the employees that the Early Childhood Project is reporting, and on the other side, you will see employees that licensing is reporting. It is important that licensing has the program's updated staff list, as the staff listed is the staff that ECSB will verify trainings for. If you find that the licensing side is not correct, the director should contact their licensor to update the information. On the ECP side of the page, data includes staff that are current on the registry or were ever current. You can click on the employee's name and it will pull up their ECP professional development record. If there are questions or concerns on the ECP side of this page, you must address them to ECP. You may see a dash mark on the ECP side of this page. This either means that the employee has been end dated and is no longer employed with the program. Remember to end date an employee, go to the Employees tab. Or that the employee continues to work in the program, but they have not been attached to the program. To do this, the individual will need to first apply to the practitioner registry, if not already done, and then fill out a work verification form and submit it to ECP. If you notice dashes on the licensing side of the page, that means that the employee is not current with licensing and the information needs to be updated by the program with QAD. The STARS Checklist subtab. You may or may not see this subtab. This subtab will only appear if the program is in an applied status, meaning that they are ready to submit for a rating. If you can see this subtab, you will be able to review the STARS checklist and potentially edit it. The checklist is the place where you will answer questions regarding your program and submit evidence around those questions. All questions on this document need to be answered for each STAR level. If you need to work on this document for a while and come back to it, Save and Exit will save all information you have entered, and when you come back, you will be able to pick back up where you left off. You will not be able to submit the checklist prior to an application period, but you can work on the checklist as you have time. There will be evidence boxes next to the questions on the checklist. You can either upload information into the evidence box, type directly into the evidence box, and/or copy and paste information from another document into the evidence box. Once you submit the checklist, it will turn into a read-only document, meaning you will no longer be able to make changes. Once a program submits their STARS checklist for a rating, a STARS rater will review the application. If there is anything missing in the application, the rater has the ability to mark either incomplete, met, or not met. If all items are marked as met, the rater will mark the application as ready for rating, and it will then go to a STARS monitor for final approval to receive a STAR level. If any items are marked as incomplete, the program will receive an email stating what items are incomplete and will have a chance to resubmit. Once the program resubmits, the same process will occur. If items are marked as met, it will be marked as ready for rating. If any items are still marked as incomplete, the program will again receive an email and a chance to resubmit. The system allows 3 submissions. After the 3rd submission, if the application is still incomplete, the STAR level will be denied. If any items are marked not met, the STAR level will be denied. You will notice acronyms on the STARS checklist next to each question. These acronyms are criteria for STARS. EQT stands for Education, Qualifications, and Training. FCP stands for Family Community Partnerships. LPN stands for Leadership and Program Management. HQSE stands for High Quality Supportive Environment. And RGS stands for Staff Caregiver to Child Ratio and Group Size. So each question that you come across on the STARS checklist will relate to one of these criteria. The last subtab under STARS is the Resources subtab. This will provide resources around STARS. You will see resources from Montana websites, general STARS information, STARS trainings, STARS required documents and resources, and childcare licensing required forms that are related to STARS criteria. Make sure you take a look, as these resources will be helpful as your program progresses through STARS. One of the first resources listed is the Early Childhood Services Bureau website. It has a lot of information regarding the STARS program, so make sure you take a look. The STARS tab has 5 subtabs: Status, Assessments, ECP Cubs Employees, STARS Checklist, and Resources. This tab contains a lot of information and is essential in applying for the STARS program and submitting for a STAR level.